The pursuit of longevity is not merely a quest to add years to one's life, but to add life to those years, a concept scientifically referred to as extending the health span. As we advance into the 21st century, the intersection of gerontology and nutritional biochemistry has begun to uncover that the secrets to delaying cellular senescence may not lie in pharmaceutical compounds synthesized in a laboratory, but rather in the complex phytochemical profiles of ancient botanicals. Among the myriad interventions available to the aging population, the daily consumption of specific herbal teas represents one of the most potent, accessible, and scientifically validated strategies to mitigate the cumulative damage of oxidative stress and inflammation. To understand how a simple daily ritual can potentially extend human life by a decade, one must first comprehend the biological mechanisms of aging. Aging is driven largely by a process known as inflammaging, a chronic, low-grade inflammation that accelerates the deterioration of immune function and damages DNA. Furthermore, the shortening of telomeres, the protective caps at the ends of chromosomes, dictates the lifespan of a cell. When we discuss the secrets of longevity, we are essentially discussing the ability of certain bioactive compounds to slow down telomere attrition, neutralize reactive oxygen species, and modulate the gene expression pathways associated with longevity, such as the sirtuin family of proteins. It is within this biochemical framework that we introduce the first and perhaps most rigorously studied beverage in the history of nutritional science: green tea, derived from the unoxidized leaves of Camellia sinensis. While water is the essence of life, green tea acts as a functional delivery system for some of the most powerful antioxidants known to man, specifically a class of flavonoids called catechins. Among these, epigallocatechin gallate, commonly known as EGCG, stands out as a therapeutic powerhouse. Upon ingestion, EGCG does not merely circulate passively. It interacts directly with the cellular machinery. Scientific literature suggests that regular consumption of green tea can mimic the effects of caloric restriction, which is currently the only proven method to extend lifespan across various species. This mimicry occurs because EGCG activates adenosine monophosphate activated protein kinase, AMPK, a master regulator of metabolism. When AMPK is activated, it signals the body to stop storing fat and start burning it for energy, effectively improving insulin sensitivity. For the aging population, where metabolic flexibility often declines leading to type 2 diabetes and metabolic syndrome, the daily introduction of EGCG acts as a metabolic reset button. This is critical because metabolic diseases are among the primary comorbidities that shorten life expectancy. By maintaining optimal blood glucose levels and reducing visceral adiposity, green tea drinkers create an internal environment that is hostile to the development of chronic diseases, thereby preserving the functional integrity of their organs for a significantly longer period. However, the longevity benefits of green tea extend far beyond metabolic regulation. Its impact on the cardiovascular system is perhaps its most profound contribution to extending life expectancy. Cardiovascular disease remains the leading cause of death globally among older adults. The mechanism by which green tea combats this involves the endothelium, the delicate inner lining of the blood vessels. As we age, the endothelium becomes rigid and less capable of vasodilation, leading to hypertension and atherosclerosis. The catechins in green tea have been shown in numerous double-blind, placebo-controlled trials to improve endothelial function almost immediately after consumption. They achieve this by increasing the bioavailability of nitric oxide, a molecule that signals blood vessels to relax and widen. This reduction in vascular resistance lowers blood pressure and reduces the shear stress on the heart muscle. Furthermore, green tea inhibits the oxidation of LDL cholesterol. It is not the presence of cholesterol itself that causes arterial plaque, but rather the oxidation of that cholesterol. By acting as a scavenger of free radicals, EGCG prevents this oxidation process, effectively keeping the arteries clear and pliable. A longitudinal study conducted in Japan, following over 40,000 participants for 11 years, concluded that those who consumed 5 or more cups of green tea per day had a drastically lower risk of dying from cardiovascular disease compared to those who drank less than 1 cup. This statistical significance provides a compelling argument that this beverage is not just a drink, but a cardioprotective agent of the highest order. Beyond the heart and metabolism, The preservation of cognitive function is paramount for a high quality of life in one's later years. Neurodegenerative diseases like Alzheimer's and Parkinson's represent the greatest fear for many aging individuals. Here, green tea offers a neuroprotective shield through multiple pathways. The blood-brain barrier is a selective filter that prevents harmful substances from entering the brain. And interestingly, EGCG is small enough to cross this barrier. Once inside the brain, it exerts anti-inflammatory effects on microglia, the brain's immune cells. Chronic activation of microglia is a hallmark of neurodegeneration. By calming these cells, green tea reduces neuroinflammation. Moreover, studies have indicated that polyphenol in green tea can inhibit the formation of amyloid beta plaques, the sticky protein aggregates that destroy neural connections in Alzheimer's patients. Additionally, green tea contains L-theanine, an amino acid that works synergistically with caffeine to enhance brain function. Unlike the jittery energy provided by coffee, the combination of L-theanine and caffeine promotes a state of alert relaxation, increasing alpha brainwave activity. This not only improves focus and memory in the short term, but also contributes to long-term cognitive reserve. When we consider the holistic picture, a protected heart, a regulated metabolism, and a preserved mind, it becomes evident why populations in blue zones, such as Okinawa, who consume high quantities of green tea, consistently live to see their 100th birthdays. Transitioning from the most famous longevity tea to one that is often overlooked but equally potent, we must turn our attention to the vibrant and tart infusion made from the calyces of the Hibiscus sabdariffa flower. While green tea is the guardian of the cell and metabolism, hibiscus tea serves as the master regulator of hemodynamic pressure. High blood pressure is often called the silent killer because it silently damages the kidneys, brain, and arteries over decades without symptoms. For an older adult looking to extend their life by 10 years, managing blood pressure is non-negotiable. Hibiscus tea has demonstrated efficacy in clinical trials that rivals that of pharmaceutical ACE inhibitors, which are commonly prescribed drugs for hypertension. The mechanism of action lies in its rich concentration of anthocyanins, the pigments that give the flower its deep red color. These anthocyanins act as natural diuretics, helping the kidneys to excrete excess sodium, which draws fluid out of the circulatory system and lowers the pressure within the vessel walls. Unlike synthetic diuretics which can deplete the body of potassium, hibiscus serves as a potassium-sparing agent, maintaining the electrolyte balance necessary for proper heart rhythm. The impact of hibiscus tea extends into the realm of lipid management, addressing the growing concern of dyslipidemia in the elderly. Aging is often accompanied by a natural increase in serum triglycerides and low-density lipoprotein, independent of diet. The bioactive acids in hibiscus, particularly hibiscic acid, function to inhibit the enzymes involved in the synthesis of fatty acids and cholesterol in the liver. This creates a systemic effect where the overall lipid profile is improved, reducing the risk of stroke and myocardial infarction. Furthermore, the liver itself, the body's primary detoxification organ, is protected by the antioxidants found in hibiscus. As we age, the liver's capacity to regenerate and process toxins diminishes, leading to a buildup of metabolic waste. Hibiscus extract has been shown to reduce liver steatosis, or fatty liver, promoting hepatic health and ensuring that the body remains efficient at eliminating the byproducts of cellular metabolism. This detoxification capability is crucial for longevity, because the accumulation of toxins is a significant contributor to the acceleration of the aging process and the onset of cellular mutations. What makes hibiscus tea particularly fascinating in the context of longevity is its profound antioxidant capacity. In various comparative studies measuring the antioxidant content of beverages, hibiscus has frequently outscored even green tea and matcha. This is due to the sheer density of polyphenolic compounds present in the dried calyx. These antioxidants are vital for neutralizing the free radical damage caused by environmental pollutants, UV radiation, and the body's own internal metabolic processes. By reducing the overall oxidative burden on the body, hibiscus tea protects the collagen network in the skin and joints. Collagen degradation is the primary cause of wrinkles and joint pain in the elderly. Therefore, the regular consumption of hibiscus tea not only contributes to internal health, but also helps maintain the structural integrity of the body's connective tissues, promoting mobility and a youthful physical resilience well into old age. It represents a dual-action approach, protecting the cardiovascular system from high pressure while simultaneously fortifying the body's structural components against the wear and tear of time. While the vascular protection provided by hibiscus creates a stable circulatory environment, the biological reality of longevity demands that we look deeper, specifically into the digestive tract and the systemic inflammatory pathways that dictate the rate of biological aging. It is often said in functional medicine that death begins in the colon, a sentiment that reflects the critical importance of the gut microbiome and nutrient absorption in the elderly. As the human body ages, it experiences a natural decline in the production of hydrochloric acid and digestive enzymes, a condition known as hypochlorhydria. This leads to reduced absorption of vital nutrients like vitamin B12 and magnesium, which are essential for cellular repair. To counteract this decline and ignite the digestive fire necessary for sustaining life, we turn to the third essential infusion in our longevity protocol: ginger tea, derived from the rhizome of Zingiber officinale. Ginger is not merely a culinary spice but a pharmacological agent that has been utilized in Ayurveda and traditional Chinese medicine for millennia, and modern science has now elucidated the mechanisms behind its restorative power. The primary bioactive compounds in ginger are gingerols and shogales, specifically 6-gingerol, which exhibits potent anti-inflammatory and antioxidant activities. However, for the aging individual, ginger's most critical role is as a prokinetic agent. Gastroparesis, or delayed gastric emptying, is a common phenomenon in older adults, leading to bloating, discomfort, and the fermentation of food in the gut, which can cause dysbiosis, an imbalance of gut bacteria. Research published in the European Journal of Gastroenterology and Hepatology has demonstrated that ginger significantly accelerates gastric emptying, stimulating the antral contractions necessary to move food through the digestive tract efficiently. By optimizing gastrointestinal motility, ginger ensures that nutrients are rapidly assimilated into the bloodstream rather than stagnating in the stomach, thereby maximizing the nutritional yield of every meal consumed. Furthermore, the influence of ginger extends to the modulation of the immune system, a critical consideration as we face immunosenescence, the gradual deterioration of the immune system brought on by natural age advancement. Gingerols have been shown to inhibit the synthesis of pro-inflammatory cytokines such as interleukin-1, tumor necrosis factor alpha, and interleukin-8. These cytokines are the chemical messengers that trigger chronic inflammation throughout the body. By suppressing their production, ginger effectively lowers the baseline inflammatory load of the body. This is significant because chronic, low-grade inflammation is the fuel for almost every age-related disease, including arthritis, diabetes, and cancer. In the context of musculoskeletal health, ginger acts as a natural analgesic. Many elderly individuals rely on nonsteroidal anti-inflammatory drugs, NSAIDs, to manage osteoarthritis pain, which can have deleterious effects on the stomach lining and kidney function over time. Comparative studies suggest that highly concentrated ginger extract can reduce knee pain in osteoarthritis patients with a safety profile far superior to synthetic drugs. Thus, a daily cup of ginger tea serves a dual purpose. It facilitates the absorption of the building blocks of life, while simultaneously dampening the inflammatory fires that threaten to consume the body's structural integrity. Transitioning from the pungent heat of ginger, we encounter the fourth tea, which is arguably the most scientifically researched herbal anti-inflammatory agent on the planet. Turmeric tea, often consumed as golden milk. While ginger initiates the digestive process and manages localized inflammation, turmeric, specifically its active polyphenol curcumin, operates on a genomic level to alter the very expression of aging. The challenge with aging is not just the wear and tear of tissues, but the dysregulation of cellular communication. Curcumin addresses this by targeting the NF-κB pathway. Nuclear factor kappa B, NF-κB, is a protein complex that controls the transcription of DNA, cytokine production, and cell survival. Scientists often refer to NF-κB as the master switch of inflammation. In a youthful, healthy body, this switch is regulated. In an aging body, it is often permanently stuck in the on position, leading to chronic tissue destruction. Curcumin has been proven to block the activation of NF-κB, effectively turning off the master switch of inflammation at the molecular source. The implications of this for longevity are staggering, particularly regarding brain health. As we mentioned with green tea, neuroprotection is key, but turmeric offers a different, complementary pathway through the elevation of brain-derived neurotrophic factor, BDNF. BDNF is a type of growth hormone that functions in the brain to drive the multiplication of neurons and the formation of new neural connections. Decreased levels of BDNF are linked to brain shrinkage, depression, and Alzheimer's disease. Incredibly, curcumin can increase brain levels of BDNF, effectively delaying or even reversing many brain diseases and age-related decreases in brain function. It improves memory and makes the brain more resilient to stress. However, the consumption of turmeric tea comes with a specific caveat that underscores the importance of nutritional chemistry: bioavailability. Curcumin is poorly absorbed into the bloodstream. It is rapidly metabolized and eliminated by the liver. To unlock its longevity potential, it must be consumed with piperine, the active compound in black pepper, which has been shown to enhance the absorption of curcumin by 2000%. Additionally, being fat-soluble, curcumin requires the presence of a lipid source, such as a splash of coconut milk or almond milk in the tea, to bypass the liver's filtration initially and enter the lymphatic system. Therefore, the ritual of drinking turmeric tea is not just about steeping a root, it is a lesson in synergy. When prepared correctly with black pepper and a healthy fat, this golden tea becomes a potent elixir for the endothelium and the joints. In the context of cardiovascular aging, curcumin improves the function of the endothelium, the lining of your blood vessels, just as effectively as exercise, according to some studies. Endothelial dysfunction is a major driver of heart disease and involves an inability of the endothelium to regulate blood pressure, blood clotting, and various other factors. By correcting this dysfunction, turmeric acts as a guardian of the circulatory system. Furthermore, regarding joint longevity, the anti-inflammatory properties of curcumin are superior to placebo in reducing joint pain and swelling in patients with rheumatoid arthritis. This allows for sustained mobility, which is the cornerstone of an active, longevity-focused lifestyle. Beyond the joints and the brain, turmeric plays a pivotal role in cellular detoxification and the prevention of oncogenesis, the formation of cancer. Aging cells are more prone to mutations, and the body's natural surveillance systems become less efficient at detecting and eliminating these rogue cells. Curcumin has demonstrated potential as a chemopreventive agent by affecting cancer growth, development, and spread at the molecular level. It has been shown to reduce angiogenesis, growth of new blood vessels and tumors, metastasis, spread of cancer, and contribute to the death of cancerous cells. While we must be cautious not to claim it as a cure, its role in a preventative longevity diet is undeniable. The synergy between ginger and turmeric cannot be overstated. Both belong to the Zingiberaceae family and share similar chemical structures, yet they target different aspects of the aging physiology. Ginger warms the core, stimulates the gut, and acts as an immediate digestive aid and immune booster. Turmeric, conversely, works systemically and genetically to modulate long-term inflammatory responses and repair neural tissue. Together, they form the roots of the longevity protocol, anchoring the body's health in a solid foundation of reduced inflammation and optimized absorption. However, even with the metabolism optimized, the arteries cleared, the inflammation quelled, and the digestion fired up, there remains one final critical pillar of longevity that is often the first to crumble in the high-stress environment of the modern world: the quality of rest and the regulation of the stress hormone cortisol. The biological machinery of the human body performs its most critical repair work, DNA methylation repair, toxic waste clearance from the brain via the glymphatic system, and muscle tissue regeneration, during deep, restorative sleep. Without this recovery phase, all other interventions are rendered less effective. Therefore, the fifth and final tea in our daily regimen is not a stimulant or a metabolic booster, but a profound sedative agent that resets the nervous system and facilitates the deep sleep states necessary for extending the health span. To address the critical imperative of restorative sleep and stress modulation, we turn to the fifth and final infusion, a botanical that has been revered since the time of the ancient Egyptians not merely as a sedative, but as a divine healer of the nervous system. Chamomile tea, specifically derived from the dried flowers of Matricaria chamomilla. While often dismissed as a simple bedtime beverage, Modern pharmacology has identified chamomile as a potent modulator of the GABAergic system. Gamma-aminobutyric acid, GABA, is the primary inhibitory neurotransmitter in the central nervous system. Its role is to reduce neuronal excitability throughout the nervous system. In the aging brain, the natural production of GABA often diminishes, leading to anxiety, restlessness, and the fragmented sleep patterns characteristic of insomnia in the elderly. Chamomile contains a specific flavonoid called apigenin, a bioactive compound that possesses a molecular structure remarkably similar to benzodiazepines, a class of pharmaceutical anti-anxiety drugs. Upon consumption, apigenin crosses the blood-brain barrier and binds to specific benzodiazepine receptors within the GABA receptor complex. However, unlike synthetic drugs which can induce dependency and cognitive grogginess, apigenin modulates these receptors gently, inducing a state of physiological sedation and anxiolysis without the deleterious side effects. This biochemical interaction signals the hypothalamus to lower the body's core temperature and initiate the cascade of hormonal shifts required for the onset of deep, slow-wave sleep. The importance of this deep sleep phase for longevity cannot be overstated, primarily due to the function of the glymphatic system. Discovered relatively recently, the glymphatic system is the brain's macroscopic waste clearance system, a plumbing network that piggybacks on the brain's blood vessels. It is most active during deep sleep, where it flushes out neurotoxic waste products, including beta-amyloid and tau proteins, which are the pathological hallmarks of Alzheimer's disease. By facilitating the transition into deep sleep through the administration of apigenin, chamomile tea essentially acts as a switch that activates the brain's nightly cleaning crew. For an older adult, maintaining the efficiency of the glymphatic system is perhaps the single most effective strategy for preventing cognitive decline. Furthermore, the anti-inflammatory properties of chamomile extend to the digestive tract, where the gut-brain axis operates. Stress often manifests as gastrointestinal distress. By calming the enteric nervous system in the gut, chamomile sends feedback signals to the brain, reinforcing a state of systemic tranquility. This reduction in physiological stress correlates directly with the suppression of cortisol. Cortisol, the body's primary stress hormone, is catabolic in nature. In excess, it breaks down muscle tissue, thins the skin, and suppresses the immune system. Elevated cortisol levels are also linked to telomere shortening. Telomeres are the protective caps on the ends of chromosomes, and their length is a reliable biomarker of biological aging. Chronic stress acts as an accelerant for telomere attrition, effectively speeding up the cellular aging clock. By regularly consuming chamomile tea, particularly in the evening, one effectively blunts the cortisol spike that often occurs due to daily stressors, thereby preserving telomere length and protecting the body's protein reserves. Additionally, recent research has unveiled chamomile's potential in glycemic control. High blood sugar is a pro-aging factor due to the formation of advanced glycation end products, AGEs, which caramelize our tissues, making them stiff and dysfunctional. Studies indicate that chamomile tea can suppress blood sugar levels and inhibit the enzymes aldose reductase and sorbitol dehydrogenase, which are implicated in diabetic complications like neuropathy and retinopathy. Thus, this humble flower serves as a triple threat against aging. It safeguards the brain's waste disposal system, modulates the stress hormones that shorten our genetic lifespan, and protects our proteins from glycation. Having examined the unique pharmacological profiles of green tea, hibiscus, ginger, turmeric, and chamomile, we must now synthesize this knowledge into a coherent, actionable strategy. The secret to extending longevity by a decade does not lie in the sporadic consumption of these beverages, but in the application of chrononutrition, the science of timing nutrition to the body's circadian rhythms. A longevity protocol creates a synergistic effect where the sum is greater than the parts. The day begins with green tea. In the morning, the body's cortisol levels naturally peak to wake us up. This is the metabolic window where the body is primed to burn fat. The caffeine and EGCG in green tea align with this circadian rhythm, amplifying metabolic rate and providing neuroprotection for the day's cognitive tasks. It serves as the ignition key. As the day progresses to midday, the focus shifts to hemodynamic regulation. Consuming hibiscus tea before or after lunch acts to counteract the postprandial blood pressure spikes and manages the lipid load from the meal. It is the vascular stabilizer. In the mid-afternoon or post-meal window, ginger tea is introduced to combat the afternoon slump and facilitate the complete digestion of nutrients, ensuring that the body extracts every microgram of value from food while preventing gut fermentation. As evening approaches and the body prepares for repair, turmeric tea, golden milk, is consumed. Its systemic anti-inflammatory properties work best when the body is winding down, allowing the curcumin to repair the microdamage accumulated during the day's activities within the joints and endothelial linings. Finally, the protocol concludes with chamomile tea roughly 1 hour before bed. This signals the pineal gland to produce melatonin and prepares the GABAergic system for the critical maintenance phase of sleep. This cyclic routine ensures that the body is constantly bathed in a specific sequence of phytochemicals designed to optimize the function required at that specific time of day. Energy and metabolism in the morning, circulation and digestion at midday, and repair and regeneration at night. The claim that such a regimen could extend life by 10 years is grounded in the all-cause mortality reduction statistics found in epidemiological studies. When we aggregate the data, green tea drinkers have shown up to a 20 to 30% reduction in cardiovascular mortality. Regular consumption of anti-inflammatory agents like turmeric and ginger correlates with lower incidence of cancer and neurodegenerative disease, and optimal sleep hygiene supported by chamomile reduces the risk of fatal accidents and metabolic collapse. By systematically lowering the risk factors for the top 5 killers of the elderly, heart disease, stroke, Alzheimer's, diabetes, and cancer, we statistically increase the probability of reaching the upper limits of the human lifespan. Furthermore, we must consider the concept of hormesis. The phytochemicals in these teas are technically mild stressors. They trigger the body's adaptive response mechanisms, such as the NRF2 pathway, which is the master regulator of antioxidant defense. By constantly challenging the body with these mild stressors, we train ourselves to become more resilient, a phenomenon known as xenohormesis. We are essentially borrowing the survival molecules that plants evolved to survive harsh environments and using them to fortify our own biology. It is crucial, however, to acknowledge that these herbal interventions are most effective when integrated into a holistic lifestyle that includes physical activity and a balanced diet. They are not magic bullets that can erase the damage of a sedentary, toxic lifestyle, but they are powerful force multipliers for healthy habits. For the aging individual, the psychological aspect of this tea ritual also contributes to longevity. The act of brewing tea requires patience, mindfulness, and a pause in the frantic pace of modern life. This daily practice of mindfulness reduces psychological stress, which is intimately linked to physical health. It provides a sense of control and agency over one's own well-being. As we look at the populations in the blue zones, from the mountains of Sardinia to the islands of Okinawa, we see that while their diets vary, the consumption of polyphenol-rich herbal infusions is a universal constant. They sip, they share, and they savor. In conclusion, the path to a centenary life is paved with the choices we make daily. The human body is designed for survival, but it requires the correct biochemical inputs to sustain its repair mechanisms against the entropy of time. By incorporating these 5 herbal teas, green tea for metabolic and cellular defense, hibiscus for vascular integrity, ginger for digestive and immune firepower, turmeric for genetic modulation and systemic repair, and chamomile for neurological restoration, we provide the body with a comprehensive arsenal against aging. This is not merely about drinking tea. It is about ingesting the condensed intelligence of nature. It is a commitment to a ritual that speaks to our genes, telling them to repair, to protect, and to endure. The science is clear. The molecules within these plants hold the codes to unlock our biological potential. The 10 extra years of vitality are not a gift. They are earned through the wisdom of understanding what we put into our bodies. So raise a cup not just to a long life, but to a life lived with full cognitive clarity, physical mobility, and boundless energy. The secret is in the steeping. Start the kettle, for your best years are arguably still ahead of you.